All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Run with the Wind, episode 11. All right, well, we know that Haiji's going to be okay.
Haiji's going to be okay.
It's all going to be good.
And Kakeru and Prince have been bonding, and I love it.
So good.
I love it so much.
So powerful.
Yeah.
It's
great.
And he now has a road upon which, if he keeps pushing in this direction, he will be capable of running at pretty good speeds.
Yeah.
Which means that, if
this might be happening.
This is gonna work.
Yep.
I hope.
That posture and the arm movements and the turning pages at the same time.
Yeah. And Kakeru might have just gained a friend.
He might have. Yeah.
And just it's so good. It's so good.
This is the best.
Yeah. We have to still put our nose to the grindstone.
Yes.
And get this stuff done. Because we're still a ways away from being anywhere near Hakone Ekiden ready.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Yeah. Y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion.
Okay.
I love when this show decides to basically say, hey, let's take this character, let's kind of get a little bit inside what's going on and inside them, and then, show how much really they're putting in to make this work.
Right.
Because while they're all unique runners and they all have their different skill levels and talents and abilities and such like that.
Strengths and weaknesses.
They're all committing so much to make this work.
Yeah.
And while it's not necessarily putting in the results that they need, it is enough for them. They're willing to basically see this effort going for the Hakone Ekiden with everyone else as something that is worth sacrificing all that other stuff.
Exactly. And this is, this kind of stuff is why I like sports shows, right? Because it's it shows the dedication to achieve a worthwhile goal, right?
Yep.
Because a lot of the times, and I think a lot of that is entrenched in the idea that it is a physical thing, It's or more not a physical thing, not a physical thing. That's the wrong word.
Yeah.
The fact that it is not a supernatural thing. Right, that's what differentiates it in my mind from like the shonen plight, right? Because there will be training in shonen and things like that, and that,
but none
that
of it's
can
realistic.
That can still scratch that itch, but it's different, right?
You can't translate that into real life in a direct way. It has to be through some kind of indirect means.
Exactly, and even though like in this case we have Kakeru, who is the super gifted, super talented, very, also very hard training, but like the one who is he's going to be the very best, right? It's the, Konryatsu, Sugoi, swirling force, all that stuff, whatever you want to call it, right?
Right, exactly.
But then we have all these characters alongside them that are really putting in an incredible amount of effort and dedication in order to maybe make this thing that should be impossible happen. Right?
Yep.
And who can't relate to that, right? Who doesn't want to do that, right? It's something that is so, I would say, fundamental to the human experience as far as having that desire on some level, regardless of what gets done with that desire, that when people see them, right, of course they want to cheer them on, right? Like the whole thing of their fan page and things like that and whatnot, because they see these kids doing something that is, well, it's inspiring, right?
Yep.
Because when you see that, you're like, okay, maybe I can take some of that and I can apply that to my own life, right?
Or even at the very least, most people are not actually willing to take that much direct inspiration from things like that and apply it, but they like to live vicariously through the passion of others, and thus giving them that feeling of being a part of something like that, which is potentially who this person at the end of the episode is. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But God, the way that Shindo basically has been that steady one throughout the story thus far, and now we see how much he's actually like really trying to handle and juggle all together, and he can't juggle that many things. One of them fell off to the side. His girlfriend. He's not able to meet her on time as much because he was taking on the website.
Right. the website, the school, the running, it's actually kind of crazy how he was able to do so much before something ended up falling through the cracks, right?
Right, yeah.
And
yeah, seriously.
yeah, maybe the sum total of his output is greater than it would have been if he had been doing fewer things, right? But it certainly isn't sustainable, right? And even if he chooses to continue doing this, well, some of those things may not choose to do this with him, right? So, man.
Yeah, Shindo is a character who I'm kind of glad we got his focus now, because if we waited too long for it, I would have not felt necessarily the sacrifice as much later. Meaning in the times after we understand what he's sacrificing
and we
general.
Continue to see him kind of silently and quietly just plugging away at what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
And in this case, it being something where all the other boys, at the very least, are maybe a little bit envious of him because he actually has a girlfriend.
Right. Oh, there's no way. He must have
made her up.
Right.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It shows just how strong they see you as Shindo.
Yeah.
Because,
and they don't even really know.
Nope.
They don't. Like, he comes from a family of farmers out in the boonies, you know.
Taking bridges across the valley to get to school because that's just plain faster.
Right.
Like, that paints a picture. Like, I mean, and they showed an actual, picture, but like the idea of like, no.
Yeah.
That's how out in the middle of nowhere it is. Like,
right. I loved Yuki's little comment of, if I had a daughter, I'd want her to marry you. And he's like, what's that supposed to mean? He's like, you've got your stuff together. And the fact that was the way he brought it up allowed Shindo the way to contradict him and say, no, I don't really have my stuff all together. And then Kakeru bring up the thing of, well, no, but remember, you were the one that kind of started the momentum, the initial momentum for this with Haiji. You were also one of the people that's kind of kept consistent with this and put in that extra effort at times that spurred other people to go forward, which happened well, I don't know if that happened later in the episode, but I believe it happened almost directly before that. Yeah. It happened directly before that with them out in the track meet and being like, no, I just want to run another time. This isn't about time. This is just about doing what you want to do. Then everyone else starts to keep going again as well.
Oh, man.
And also physically, this is another thing that I wanted to call out because I mentioned it earlier in the show. He has the least physical talent, natural talent with the way his body is shaped and stuff like that.
Sure, yeah, other than
shortest.
maybe Prince. Like,
No. Prince definitely does, but I'd say Prince is more just...
Prince is the obvious one.
Prince is the obvious one because of his lack of muscles and motor skills.
Oh, right, yeah.
Shindo has naturally worked hard just in stuff in general from just being on a farm, but he should have the lowest max potential just because he's the shortest.
Yeah, and actually... Was he the one who said some people just might not be good at running?
No, I believe that was
Yuki.
Yuki is the one that's the pragmatic one who's going to state the things that no one else really wants to because they're a little bit...
He's the lawyer. He sees the exceptions and the...
Exactly. Yeah. So he can argue for anything in this bit here. But no, if anything, Shindo is the one who kind of maybe says like everything's okay and stuff like that and doesn't really... It doesn't really ask for anything. Like Shindo seems to be the kind of one who could be going through a lot of trouble.
And he is.
He is.
And he keeps it to himself.
We don't really see him being vulnerable with it.
He doesn't give himself enough credit.
Right.
Because like when Kakeru said you're strong, right? After he had just gotten that compliment, and Haiji pointed out that is the best compliment a long distance runner can give, or a long distance runner can be given, right? Yeah, and then he uses that, but Shindo brushes it off, right? And he's like, "No, I'm not strong. I just, whenever there's something that needs to be done, I do it."
Yeah.
That Shindo.
That
is
the
like
definition
the
of
textbook
strength.
Definition of strength.
Yeah.
Right? Because, especially if you think, because in that statement. You made no caveats for limits.
Yes.
That is actually an insane statement.
Yeah, it's actually something that is a little bit unhealthy.
Right. That's you can almost guarantee that he can't be doing that, right?
Right.
He's definitely putting up the show of it, right? And
Right.
the universe is the only one that's actually telling him, no, that's not going to actually work out that way, you know? Girlfriend breaks up with you, right?
Yeah, he starts showing that his stature and his posture in general is a little bit lacking at times when he's running a little bit longer. And Yuki has to point it out to him, like, hey, your center of gravity is a little bit off. Do you mind maybe taking a little bit of tips from Kakeru?
Yeah, which...
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, how much of that is that something that Yuki noticed just now because it just happened just now?
Well, he said he was running behind him for the first time.
Well, gotcha. But it could also be something where it's maybe because of where you're at emotionally right now, you know, that's something that maybe was exaggerated even more so in this point in time.
Yeah.
But like it... Something that kind of frustrates me a lot is that when people assume that strength cannot allow for weakness, whereas I would say that weakness is actually when you see the strength, right? Because it's not you don't wonder about how strong someone is when they bench press some amount of weight, right?
Yeah,
it's
true.
when they bench press the max amount that they can, and then they do that final rep or whatever, and their arms give out. And then you look at the weight they were doing, and you're like, wait, holy shit, right? Like, how did you do that?
When they
right?
hit their limit.
Right. Because otherwise, you don't really have a grid for it, right? You don't have something to compare it to.
For them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's really cool like that.
And this kind of stuff where the topic gets brought up of doing what you want to do and consequences be damned kind of a thing, right? Mm-hmm. And that is a skill.
It is.
Like, and there are people that have talent for that. And Shindo, you are one of those people. And not
the way
just
you were raised,
the way you were raised, and the way you've decided to live, and things like that. You've been maintaining that, and that cannot be discounted. Right.
Yeah, I love then the beginning of the episode kind of sets this up by him stepping up out of the water when they're all talking about how things have been maybe a little bit slowing up. You know, it's a battle of endurance, and it's not easy to compare results. And then suddenly Shindo stands up and goes, I've hit my limit.
Right.
Sorry about my limit. And he's like, I meant with the water. And it's like the perfect, slip of the tongue where he has actually hit his limit, which means that the next episode, I really hope gets into a little bit more of where those limits potentially are. Now, we don't have to have him be the focus of the next episode entirely.
Because the new guy did come in and...
The new character, who might be their first new fan from the website, but could also be someone that's tied to Kakeru's, like...
past.
Family past, or maybe his running past in some way. But it's pretty potentially interesting there. Also, I gotta say, Yuki was kind of a quiet MVP this episode.
Yeah, he was. Like,
he had a lot of little moments where he was like, hey, I'm just observing. Just, calling out little things. I've been right every single time, because, that's me. I'm a lawyer. I'm always right,
Right. Yeah. It's something where I feel like lawyers and the skills associated with them oftentimes get a bad rep.
Yes.
Not necessarily without reason, right?
Right, because they can make you believe that you were wrong.
Oh, sure, yeah.
With complete bogus stuff.
And angry lawyers coming after you is a nightmare, right?
That is a nightmare, yes.
But the idea of, no, these are some of the ways that his head and his mind for law and arguments and finding the inconsistencies and things is very helpful, right? Like and it doesn't need to be something that draws attention to himself. He's just like poke. Okay.
Yeah. I also really love, and I think this episode is kind of a light episode in terms of discussion potential, except for this conversation with Haiji and Kakeru regarding Fujioka, the god of running that they have as their kind of peer. And he mentions how there are some strong runners hidden in Kanto that you should not underestimate.
Right, and I won't be underestimating them as I wait for them. Yeah.
Exactly. So basically calling out the two of them.
Yeah.
Directly through the article. And in some ways, I really like this stuff because what he could be saying is, hey, I haven't seen your limits yet.
Sure.
Be sure to bring that A game
Right.
You know,
I am wanting
when we meet again.
Right. I am wanting for us to be rivals as opposed to the I'm still way better than you guys currently. You know. So this is a challenge. This is a challenge that no one else will necessarily know about.
Right.
Right. But you'll know.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about the difference between being strong and fast. Now, they're set up to do the equivalent of a super long distance race where they're splitting it up. So
Yes.
say pass the baton, and they each do their own specific part. And their specific parts that they're doing are not actually that long. In terms of a long distance runner, they're
Right.
actually pretty short.
I think it's like
But
10 miles per person.
no, it's
wasn't?
it's way shorter as far as I remember.
Oh, okay.
We
we'll
can go back
check,
and
yeah.
check it later. The point, though, is that they are not sprinters.
Right.
Sprinters go over extremely short distances of like 100 to like 500 meters.
Yeah.
Like really short. So the idea of calling someone fast or quick or whatever is great in that you can experience those bursts. But if you look at Haiji's character is the quintessential long distance runner. He has gone through this whole thing for 4 years, basically. He is
The long suffering.
He has been pushing and putting all this effort over long periods of time to make this big moment happen. So he has already been running the marathon, the long distance super race here.
Yep.
Kakeru comes in with the speed. The hot, like, zzz, he's got that electricity.
He's lightning, yeah.
Yeah, he's quick, he's speed. And all of this puts him to be, in some ways, completely opposite to Haiji. Haiji then is teaching him here what it means to be strong. So when Kakeru then sees Shindo trying to, like, put on that strength and stuff like that, he's quick to now go, oh, I recognize that difference. I'm going to make you tea. I'm going to compliment you.
Yep.
I'm going to stick right with you all the way until night when you're working on this website and stuff. I can't do anything to help you.
Sleep on the floor right next to you. Yeah.
Right, but it shows how much Kakeru is learning to adjust and adapt and evolve because he's doing the equivalent of the windmill cheering him on from the sidelines thing, where it's not about speed. It's about being there for someone who needs that extra bit of endurance when they're weak. So I love the conversation because you can see it as just the setup for these two having their rival. That's just, we're going to be strong and stuff. But no, it's about where do you lend your strength? Where do you like call forth the strength from someone else? And it's just, it's Kakeru being a leader. I love it.
I love it. It's because all right. This show, right? It's a fully encapsulated show. There's no sequel seasons or whatever. This is it, right? We have a lot of characters.
Yes.
We have a lot of characters.
Yeah.
How do you have all those characters go on an arc? Especially, how do you make it so that the main character...
Well, you have two of them be twins.
Well, you have the two of them be twins.
They're essentially one character.
That definitely does help, right? But then also for the main character, how do you make it so that they get a good balance of screen time in the series, and so that they can grow? Because the main character should be the one that is, that kind of carries that weight, right? They're the main character for a reason.
Now you have dual main characters in this case.
Well, yeah, and you have dual main characters in this case, right? That is definitely a way to pick up the pace on it. That way you can do them kind of in parallel.
Right.
But Kakeru hasn't gotten too many, big whole episodes dedicated to him, right?
Yeah, not much anymore, yeah.
Because what he's gotten is let's see how I respond and grow and change as a result of being with these people because I'm used to being alone. Right?
Yeah.
Now I'm not alone. I'm with all these other people. And then we can get these bits of characterization where even though the episode as a whole is still focused on Shindo, right? We get these wonderful moments of growth with Kakeru when he's not the focus of the scene.
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's so good.
That's amazing, yeah. Also, little just extra details there. Haiji being the long distance runner, and this being our first instance where we've seen him actually in PT post the event of the injury, where it was from a flashbacks perspective.
Yeah, with an actual professional that's working with him and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of stuff that's important for us to know because Haiji did collapse that one time.
Yep.
And given that the PT gave basically the, hey, you're...
what was it exactly?
Something about you're taking care of the opposite side or something like that. Let me actually bring this up here. It says you're protecting let me get this here because the subtitles don't load it if you don't approach it from the beginning. So it's a chiropractic clinic. You're protecting the opposite side.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like I've been trying to be conscious of it.
Yeah, one of the things that I thought was cool here is that he wasn't actually focusing when the scene starts. He wasn't focusing on the injured leg. He's focusing on the other leg, right? Which makes sense, right? It's the like when we did the Halloween stream that one time and I was wearing the eye patch. It was like no, this actually is starting to be a problem for the other eye because it's trying to carry all the weight
and be
of the
two eyes in one.
Right, of the thing that's not being used.
Right.
So with his legs here, you don't just focus on the one that got hurt. You focused on the other one that's been double timing it to try and, carry the load.
Yeah.
And so this worries me.
Yeah, this is something that is important to have happen. So I'm glad that he's doing physical therapy and stuff like that. He's not like skipping out on it or something like that. But there's a timer that he is essentially on, based on the way that they presented that scene.
And the way that line of you've got no choice but to take your time fixing it. Okay, the race isn't for a while, so that's good, and Haiji will definitely be, faithful to be consistent with it and whatnot. But he is in the situation of let's push ourselves to the physical limits repeatedly to train for the big test where we will push ourselves probably past our physical limits.
Right.
Okay. Hopefully it all goes well.
Yeah. I love also that part at the end of the Haiji Kakeru conversation where he's like, honestly, I am anxious, looking at
yes, being vulnerable.
Just being willing to share that stuff with him. It really does feel like that these two are able to understand each other's roles as potential leaders here, not just in the stuff that they've done thus far, because then Haiji's clearly the leader in that respect, but in them being leaders together in future stuff, because, well, we saw Haiji collapse. We saw that he can get overworked and things like that.
Yep.
So the fact that Kakeru's here cutting the carrots, you could look at it as, this is just how they're passing the time. No, this is him sharing the load.
Sharing the load.
Yeah, exactly. And, you look at the way he's cutting the carrots and you're like...
It's Jacob in a stew. It's not too big of a
totally.
deal.
But Jacob and I have both been in like the food service stuff like that, and I was actually worried that was Haiji just showing that he was tired. But when I realized that was Kakeru cutting the carrots, I'm like, that makes sense now. He's really bad at doing that. Like he's actually just garbage at cutting the carrots. So that was kind of hilarious. Now, to be fair, he was not focused on the carrots. He was multitasking, talking, and doing the stuff there.
And if you're doing it in a stew is probably the instance where it matters the least, because it's going to become soft and mushy anyways, and then you can break it up. Yeah.
Right, exactly. But they've got a fan website, too.
They've got a website.
And I love that Nico was the one that kind of gave them okay, here's the bear stuff here, the rest of it, you guys want to do that? Okay, awesome. Go from here, design it as you will. I did the base code, kind of stuff like that. But, oh man. I just love to see them all coming together like this, and I really, really want to see something build them even closer together over the course of this new competition that they're doing to earn some money.
Well, are they doing that? Because I thought they said that they missed the inter-college.
No. I think what this was them basically saying that they're going to this Tokyo kind of sports thing and stuff like that.
Right, yeah, they're doing a track meet, right? This is a...
Yeah, I don't...
Wasn't this a track meet? I don't know. We'll have to... Okay, maybe.
Oh, no, we're running in the Tokyo Sports Uni meet. Okay, it is a meet then. Okay.
Right.
Gotcha. It is something interesting, though, as to why not Shinji would come up, though, and be like, what? Why are you here?
I think it's because he's in the Tokyo U track team.
Right.
So it's the, you're coming to our... home turf, basically, and it's like, don't get in our way. And then, of course, Shindo's like,
we're not looking towards you.
Yeah, this isn't
what we're
here for, right?
Yeah.
It's just that reminder of, no, we're going for the big cheese. Like,
yeah. And then mystery guy. Who are you? What are you doing here?
If he's, I'm not sure whether I want him to be Kakeru's dad or like a someone who previously scouted him or something, because I'm not sure.
Why do you keep thinking he's a scout?
Well,
what evidence are you basing
reporter.
That on?
He has the camera.
Where does he have the camera?
Yeah, he carries around all the time. It's on his shoulder. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that is
So
definitely
maybe not someone that's actually like scouting talent, but like someone who did pieces on him or something when he was in high school or something like that.
He just
right?
has the creep look.
Well, that was
I don't know why they do that.
So the other thing that it was making me
eyes.
wonder is if it was something where it's the like someone who's fallen on hard times.
Yeah.
Which was something that I was wondering if that could potentially be a connection with Kakeru, given the fact that he was strapped for cash originally and he didn't. There was no one that he went to for help, right?
Whoa.
Like, you know, and that could have been a pride thing or something like that, but I could also see it maybe being something where if his family was struggling financially, like where it was hard enough to just go to a university, right? That he wouldn't want to be like, oh, by the way, because I went to a mahjong parlor and lost, the money I had for food and stuff.
Right.
Can you send me more? Like, I don't know.
Huh.
But,
okay.
Yeah, but the camera makes me think he's some kind of reporter or something like that.
Yeah, I don't like that prediction because I love the idea of him being tied to his past, like in a very specific way, but just the creepy eyes and the sallow cheeks. This guy is broke or something.
Well, what it communicates to me is that there is some kind of incredibly strong emotional tie, right? Which it'd be kind of hard to. How would you sell that if he's just a reporter, right?
The way he emotes. The thing is that he doesn't really emote. He just has like this, like kind of almost constant shocked, like
it almost
deer in headlights look.
It almost felt to me like a desperation kind of like
I'm sure
like like I wanted to see for myself, like I'm guessing he probably found out about it through the website somehow.
Yeah, it's just like it's so quick.
Yeah,
it's so
I don't know. I don't know, man.
I have a creepy vibe off this guy. Like I don't feel like it could be. I don't feel like it could be like really creepy, but I don't assume some kind of healthy relationship.
Let's say it was bad. Here's a way that I could see it being really bad. Kakeru previously ran and was a god on the track.
Yeah, okay.
There was someone else. So taking it, however bad it could go, but someone else that was also on the track and field team or whatever that ended up having a really bad experience because Kakeru was doing so good and they weren't. And this is maybe someone connected to that person.
Or maybe it's them.
He's too old. He's too old.
Why? It could have been from like 40 years and they could have just been there last year in high school.
Maybe.
You think this guy can't be 22?
Nah. I mean, if so, that would be some hard living. That would be some serious. It's the years. It's the miles, not the years.
Well, also, photographers in general, just it's really hard to make a full living off of that.
I'd peg him at being minimum 30, but probably in like mid 30s.
I want to go out on there and say that he's way younger than we actually think.
Who knows? He might be. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. But okay, yeah, this guy is a mystery. He is tied to Kakeru's past definitely in some way.
Yeah.
And then it's just a question of how. But okay, photographer guy, be watching you. And let's go and get those times on this meet here.
Yes.
You guys are halfway there. 5 out of 10. Oh!
And it'll probably take longer to get those last 5.
That's true.
But
Prince is going to be a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
But point is, still something.
Yeah. So, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
Yes, we stream every weekday. The info is in the description down below.
Yes, if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.